of this as well, why people, it's a preconceived connotation. So we're going to chop this down to color first. Um, so why can't we all, we have a label, we call ourselves human beings. Okay, so we're all human beings. But under the umbrella name, we're all individualized. For hyperbole, you can call me Bishop. I just like that chess move a lot. Sliding across the floor, it's a good one. But everybody has their own individualized name that categorizes themselves under the umbrella humans. It's like asking a zebra what its name is. Oh, it turns out every zebra has a different name. You just have to, like, chirp at it differently or some shit. I don't know. There's research. We could dive into it and we figure it out. I don't know if zebras chirp, but I'm sure they do something weird that indicates some sort of differences between its own species. But long story short, okay, we have all of these things that characterize. We like to define, we like to label. So going to color, oh my, pink has a feminine connotation labeled and attached to it naturally. It's a connotation that embodies women. It's a connotation that as a young boy, you don't pick this color to wear. You give this to your baby girl. So we naturally attribute this to a feminine attribute. But you know me, since I'm OG and don't give a fuck about none of that shit, I like this color. It looks good on me. And plus, I won this particular shirt. Not to talk about myself, but I did okay. And it was a team effort. And that's going back to color, going back to the umbrella effect of humans. It's a team effort, guys. Goddamn. Goddamn, goddamn, goddamn. Like, what in the fuck is, like, going on? Like, really? You know, like, I got to a point where I was like, wow, the customer is definitely wrong most of the time. But now it's our society doesn't have natural interactions with people that they have not met before on a regular basis. So generally everything that you have with someone, and by have, that is already an empty fucking word because it's so shallow. People are hollow nowadays. So going back to this whole big old scheme of things called love, which is initially what I was talking about, I know, but you have to factor in because in my mind, in my reality, in my perception, in my way of understanding or perceiving or comprehending or collecting this all together and trying to put it into breath messages, words and shit and things that perceive a word or an understanding or an interpretation to you, is that it's all derived inside of you. So the only reason that I believe that someone is another color is because that came from inside of me initially. So you can perceive and see with your eyes differences, physical differences, but inside the mind there's everything. That's where I'm sitting next to what you could label this, but that comes from inside your head. This comes from inside your head. You looking at this video, you're perceiving it, yeah, you're looking at it and you're digesting it out here, but it comes from inside your fucking head. So when you really start to sit back and think about things, you're like, holy shit, what exactly am I gravitating towards? Boom, there we go. So now that I'm floating around, or you're floating around, or we're floating around, or you perceive yourself more so moving through things rather than having things move past you or through you or affect you in any sort of manner, you could say it's some sort of Bruce Lee or potential Buddhist theory or some yoga fanatic who's centered himself or herself or fucking stretching a lot or finding a chi or some sort of oneness, or you could start to spread it and try to make it into something called a belief or religion. It's derived off that shit. is where this all comes towards, and it's like a flow, it's a feeling, it's a natural state, it's a frequency, it's a vibration, it's a way of perceiving per se, or understanding, you could argue, but I'm not trying to get into that. More so, it could resonate with you, or it can't. That's all based on if you're even fucking still watching the shit or trying to figure out how to love in the first place. Um, but ultimately, collectively, it's still all coming from inside of yourself. And that's my main point here, is I could pour, hypothetically, I have so much love. I could say I have all of the love. I have all of the love is what I'm saying, in this situation. And my cup is fucking, since I have all the love, it's basically I have the whole cup. I have the whole cup, okay? And you can actively choose to pour that. I could pour my love on everyone, or no one, or not even myself. I could choose not to pour love on myself, which is like the ultimate failure. But you could actively see who is engaged with love and who isn't engaged with love. That's just an even deeper level to this. So, since you could hypothetically see who loves themselves and see who doesn't love themselves, should you choose to invest in someone who doesn't love themselves? That could be a moral dilemma. That could be a question we could ask more questions around and towards, and try to surf in or swim in, and figure out more theory towards whether that's just ultimately a morality issue. Who knows? But you can now differentiate in this situation between someone who does and doesn't love themselves, and whether or not you should invest, like that giant cup of love you have, into them or not. So if you can see who doesn't and does love themselves, you could absolutely see at what level they're loving themselves. So, if I can see that, oh, that person loves themselves, but they're only at 10% love or 5% love, or in this situation 100% is full love, and anything past 100% is just overflowing your cup, and it's just like you just have this extra resource that you're able to toss around. It's like just like a guy being so cheerful in a bar or some shit that his drink is just like almost spilling out because he doesn't care. It's like an emotional resonance that is at such a higher vibration or frequency, this over 100%, 110% love, 111% love, because ultimately it just equals a blast off, is what the ultimate love type feeling is. But in this situation, you could see this person has 5% love. So you could absolutely fill their cup up. You could easily be like, whoa, I know that person is actually, they understand, they have a cup that isn't broken, it's just been glued back together. How many times, who knows? It just depends on how many times people have dropped their cup. So you could drop your cup a lot, you could drop your cup once, you could drop your cup fucking forever. Who knows? People may not even know they're dropping their cup their whole life. So you could, and they glue it back together, and you're like, oh wow, that's amazing. You figured out how to let go of something, of how to move on, how to overcome, how to circumvent a problem, how to re-navigate a situation, how to reinvest into something other than someone else, which is ultimately the best thing, is yourself. So self-love isn't based on any sort of selfishness, is what I personally would like to add to this deep web of hypothetical philosophy that some people may watch, some people may not, some people may potentially have a bunch of questions or other thoughts that may be able to help them in their lives. Who fucking knows? But ultimately, I think the best thing to do is to keep maintaining your love. Because I've gotten, and I'm sure people have played plenty of games, had plenty of alcohol, different varied drugs, eaten copious amounts of different foods, collected random sorts of things, traveled, had many experiences, like whatever it is that they invest their time into is a sense of where your love goes. Because ultimately, if you love yourself, you're in complete control. Nobody gets to dictate where your love goes. So there are people who, in what, like, in some senses you could call them, would be energy vampires. People who would rather collect your time and waste it rather than be productive or take action towards anything. Like, and that could be at work. It could be like a person at work who just likes to ask you a random question that you ultimately just have to fucking ignore, because you know every time that you engage with this person, it isn't that you're actually communicating. There's people you engage with where you don't even communicate. It's just like you just literally absorbed part of my, like, consciousness, our consciousness, the staff's energetic balance. Like, it goes on to many different layers. Uh, love is a complicated, very multifaceted, very hard emotion to conquer. You have to conquer love, like, dead ass. Like, love ain't easy. Like, like, in order to get to love, like, you have to just completely understand how to accept love, how to let go, how to be free, how to be vulnerable, how to be you, like, just how to stand still, how to swim right. Like, like, love is every complicated experience in your entire life encapsulated. Like, you don't like have love all the time. You take love when you need love. Like, I can't be like at work and just experiencing complete love. Like you get distracted in your real life obligations. So anyone who says they waver or have love constantly are not truly even with you. You know what I mean? Like, they're not actually giving a sense of their being to you. They're not trying to actually apprehend or comprehend what you're contributing. Like, and I think that's on, like, a greater scale, is asking the right questions towards yourself, and letting go of what you had in the past that may have happened to you. Whether your dad said something mean to you, your mom said something mean to you, your grandpa didn't come to your 18th birthday, you didn't get a cake on your 16th, like, your mom threw away your favorite toy, like, you didn't get to travel, like, your fucking grandma bit you, like just crazy shit, like, you were manipulated, you were taken advantage of, like dependent on, like, maybe your parents never went to your baseball games or your soccer games or your volleyball games or any sort of athletic outcome. And maybe, like even worse, like, your mom wasn't there, like, your dad wasn't there, like, the early age, you could say, like, was never there, like, orphaned. There's so many different people out here on this planet that you being able to just try to, like, rationalize and completely empathically connect with, it's a very difficult task, and that goes back to love, because ultimately, if you love yourself that much, you could see a sense of how to help someone immediately, easily. You could give them a part of yourself. You could start trying to preach. You could stand on a fucking corner. They would walk right by you. Any sort of energetic output that is trying to be beneficial in the moment, people don't have time for. They have to digest all this on the DL, secretly behind this glass door we all live behind called the internet. I know. It's a goddamn blessing. But I hope you enjoyed, and I definitely will try to keep dropping this Gnostic wisdom I have, and keep living that real life and trying to eat this pill of love. Thanks. God bless.